Nowadays, more than ever, vocals are a key part of electronic music, at least in many tracks. And it's not always easy to find the right vocal for your track, especially if you're using splice or something similar, because maybe people have already used the vocal, maybe not in your genre, maybe they did. And it can be quite frustrating to have a track and then all of a sudden see that somebody else already used the vocal. So one of the things that I think is very cool is to now work with other artists or even make vocals yourself. In this video, I want to show you how I made my own vocals for my track Trust that was released on 1605 by Umek, and how I processed them so much that I'm kind of okay with my own voice in the track. Let's go. So when I produced my new track, in the beginning it wasn't called Trust, it was just a track. And at some point I thought, what? All of a sudden this vocal rushed into my mind. It was actually crazy. And later on I found out that I had written a similar line to this one before. I found it in my iPhone notes from 5 years ago. So it was somewhere back here. It was saved. But it was crazy. I was producing and all of a sudden those words rushed into my mind. You are right where you need to be, trust the universe. And I was like, damn, I have to record this. I grabbed my mic and recorded this, and the track would be not so nice if it was just that.
You are right where you need to be.
So what I did with the vocal in the beginning is I pitched it down just a little bit. So it sounds a bit darker than my voice.
Trust the universe.
Obviously, the track wouldn't be so cool if I had the vocal just like this. So in the beginning, I put a little altar boy on there, even lowering the formants more.
You are.
Making it sound even darker. This utility does nothing. Then my first EQ. I really wanted to make it now brighter, not in a sense that the vocal itself should be brighter, but rather my dark vocal should be more upfront. So I raised the high frequencies of this pitch down vocal.
You are.
So now it sounds a little bit like I would, I don't know, play it through an amp if there was more distortion, which is coming now.
You are.
Just to compare it again.
You are. You are.
So this was just preparation for the one effect that makes this vocal work, which is the Spectral resonator here in Ableton. It's a very cool effect that basically lets you transform a sound into something else. You can take the dynamics, you can take the rhythm of a sound, you can take even the vocalization of a sound, but add another completely different sound texture on top of it. And you can do it like this.
You are. You are. You are.
Which is indeed pretty cool. Free in frequency, but I tuned it to my track, which is in D sharp, right? An E B minor.
You are.
And now it becomes more stable and one note. A little bit of high frequency damp and a lot of low frequency damp just to smooth the whole effect a little bit, and less decay, because if I had more decay,
you are.
all the syllables would kind of go into each other. I don't want that. I want the vocal to be very, very understandable. That was the most important thing, because this message of the vocal feels very important to me. You are right where you need to be. Don't worry. It's okay. Trust the universe. You don't have to worry. Whatever you feel like is going wrong right now, it's not. Everything is exactly what it's supposed to be like, and you will eventually get there. Trust the universe. This is the message of this track. So it was very important to me, even though I used all those robotic effects and pitch down and everything, that people can understand it. So one is how I use the effect, how I use the decay, for example, to be slow, to hear all the syllables, but also the placement of the vocal, because it's on the drop. For the first time you can hear it on the drop. In the beginning it's only trust the universe twice, but you are right where you need to be, trust the universe, happens for the first time on the drop where there is no other sound playing than the kick drum. So it's completely open, the full track, all the frequencies are open, only for the vocal to shine. Let me grab a sip of my coffee for that. Now, afterwards, I wanted to affect the affected signal. So you can imagine this chain to be 3 parts. First, bring the vocal in shape for the resonator, resonate it, now bring the resonated signal in shape to work with the track. So Lufticus is a cool EQ that has fixed frequencies, but they are pretty nice. So basically I boosted in the kind of the body, in the knocky area, like 640, I boosted a little bit around to 5, which will also increase the audibility of the vocal, and even more a little bit the high end. And I took out just a little bit here in the low bass, like 160 before the sub area, because there is not really a sub frequency. But yeah, I wanted it to sound like this.
You are. You are. You are.
It's just more present. It's literally like more up front. Next one, J37, a nice tape machine from Waves.
You are.
And I drive it in really hard. If we look at this through the limiter,
You are.
this is the vocal before.
You are.
This is afterwards. So it's much quieter. It gets compressed a lot, saturated a lot through the tape machine. Some gain staging. It was finally time to bring it back to the volume of the actual track. And lastly, this was a late mixing decision to grab just a little bit at 5K dynamically.
You are. Right where you need to be.
It's, for example, the right t, the t, super strong. So I needed to catch that. So this is the vocal now.
You are. Right.
But what was that? What was vocal glitches? Wait, reverse. What's that? Let's have a listen. So this is a simple reverse. This one you know, right? You take a sound, you put a reverb on it, 100%, you record that. You can take the reverb off, you don't need it anymore. You take the recording of the reverb tail, maybe only of one syllable instead of the whole vocal, and then you just reverse it in Ableton. You can just take it, let's say this is it, and reverse it like this. That's done by big R, pressing big R. So you press Shift R, or not Shift, Caps R, sorry. Or you can just right click and this one in German, umdrehen, reverse. Yes, so this is the reverse sound. But then there's also vocal glitches over here, and those sound pretty crazy. On their own, I mean, what the fuck. So you can see the recording here. I'm gonna actually grab it, and I'm gonna go all the way here so we can have a listen to the full recording. It seems pretty loud, so I'm gonna go quieter a bit. So what did I do here? That's the question. I will try to replicate it, at least a little bit. So I have trust right here, the word.
Trust.
I do it like this.
Trust.
And now I used different echo plugins for this, but the one that was actually used the most, I think, is Crystallizer by Soundtoys. I don't know why this happens. It always happens in my Crystallizer, but basically Crystallizer is a cool tool because you can have reversed echoes, and they sound like this.
Trust. Trust.
Right? And then you can also pitch them. And there you go. That's what I did. And all this I just recorded. I did a session. I had probably like 10 minutes of recording of all those different effects. And then I decided for the ones that I like the most and also tried to place them where I like them the most. So here, for example,
You are.
it's the end of the U, right? It goes like U, and then kind of fizzles out into the effect. So I think that was a pretty cool idea to have this before the U of the vocal, you are. So it kind of introduces that there is now a vocal coming, and it also works with the glitches down here.
You are.
Right, so it's kind of an opener for the vocal. It doesn't come out of nowhere, but there's like some effects that introduce it. And then there's a connection between you are and right where you need to be, which is this one. And those you heard already when I just did the thing with the crystallizer. Those are like very easy to get out of crystallizer. And I think they are pretty cool. This one, of course, I changed the pitch here in crystallizer, and I think that's just an insane texture. I love it. And this is an echo. That's pretty easy. It's not the crystallizer, actually, I think. Not sure, though. So yeah, for the trust, I wanted to include a real echo. And then here, for example, I have another echo on, but on the vocal.
The universe.
Which is this one here.
The universe.
Where I automate the time to the maximum at the very end, so it pitches down.
The universe.
Right, and then I automated the on-off just for it to stop briefly. You can see it looks like this. Cool trick with echoes in Ableton, also reverbs, if you want them to stop immediately. But so imagine, you could also put utility and automate utility volume to -infinity. But then if you automate it back up after, let's say, a few seconds, if the echo still didn't stop, it will play again. Because utility doesn't kill the echo, it just kills the volume at the very end of the chain. But if you automate the on, device on, it's called, this knob of echo, it completely kills whatever happened. You can have the biggest feedback of all time. You just press that button once and turn it back on and it's gone. So this is sometimes pretty cool because right here, it's basically, it goes off for a short moment and comes back on because there's other sounds as well who want to go into that echo just later on. So yeah, this is how I build the effects around the vocal here, and showcasing it all again in the very end of the track.
You are right where you need to be. Trust the universe.
So I hope this was a helpful video for you. I want to let you know that this is actually part of a much bigger video, only available for the people of the 909 Tribe mentorship on School. So if you are interested in joining there and not only getting this video, but a video every month, a podcast every month, a mentor who gives you direct and private feedback, and a big community full of music producers that will help you, where you can discuss your questions and ask feedback for your tracks, and even much more, like remix challenges and all, it's way too much to list it here, then you should consider joining us there. Check the link in the description and maybe see you there.